Hello and welcome to episode 276 of the Paint All the Minis podcast, the show where you can listen to the widest range of guests that I can convince to chat to me about the tabletop gaming hobby. This week I talked to Scott Radom about why he loves Star Wars Shatterpoint. I was a little bit turned off from Shatterpoint on its release due to there not being a crossover from Star Wars Legion, which I was pretty deeply invested into at the time, and also because there was a lot of like special dioramas and promos and other perceived, from my point of view, like big marketing things that made me think more it was about making money as opposed to maybe being a lot of substance behind the initial release of the game. So it was great to hear from Scott about all the things that he likes about it, and I don't think that I'm dropping everything to be involved in it in the future, but I'm definitely more open-minded than I was before. It was great to speak to somebody who plays the game, who enjoys the game, who's painted a lot of miniatures from the game to kind of give their perspective on what it is that they enjoy. If you play it, then make sure you give us a shout about all the things that you like, because there might have been things that we missed in this conversation, things that you particularly like. Personally, I really like the old school Star Wars, the first trilogy from like the 70s and early 80s. So I'm not too fussed about the newer kind of like shark robot dudes and shark guys and the Bad Company, etc., etc. All the stuff from the kind of cartoons and the comics. That's not really for me personally. It's not really what I like best about Star Wars. But what is amazing is that the model offering from Star Wars Shatterpoint is so diverse. So it's like whatever era of Star Wars that you like, it seems to be that you can get involved in that particular era, which is positive. It's not really for me, I don't think personally. I think if I was to play Shatterpoint, it would be like proper old school, like Luke Skywalker against Darth Vader and Boba Fett and all that kind of stuff, Han Solo and Princess Leia and all that kind of stuff. So it's just great that it's so diverse that anyone from any particular era that got involved in Star Wars whenever they were a kid can have access to the models that they would want to paint and would want to play with. So I think that's really, really good. It was great to have a reason to talk to Scott once more. He is a truly amazing guy. Thank you for coming onto the show, Scott. It's always great to have an opportunity and an excuse to talk to you. And if you're listening along, we really do hope that you enjoy the conversation that we had. Also, if you've got any questions for Scott, he is a member of the Discord server, so you can click on the link to the Discord group in the podcast description, and you can come and chat, and you can ask him any questions that you want to. You can ask him why he's called the Man of Axe and Schlong. You can ask him why he doesn't particularly like Queen Amidala, or anything else that pops into your mind. If you want to email me directly, you can do via paintalltheminis@gmail.com. But I think that's enough of the pre-ramble ramble. Let's go!
Podcast with Dan Adams, that is.
This is Seamus. I'm a wargamer, like you. Not too long ago, I too had an enormous backlog of unassembled and unpainted miniatures, and I struggled with what to do about them. Then I discovered Paint All the Minis, the podcast, the website, the Facebook group, everything about it geared towards making me a better hobbyist. I can paint faster with better detail, stronger shading, stronger highlights. Everything is just better because of Paint All the Minis.
So hey, I am here with Radom Scott. How's it going, Radom Scott?
Very well, Dan. Thank you so much for asking.
I always put your name like that in my head because I think it sounds like you're some sort of adventurer or superhero. Radom Scott.
To me, that sounds like I'm in a lineup for something. I have to step forward. Like I've been accused of some horrendous crime when you hit that. It's either last name first, I feel that way, or if it's the full name when they drop the middle name in there.
Yeah.
I've done something wrong.
So your name obviously is Scott Radom, and you're not your first time on the show. Like you've been on at least once before, but yeah. So that's cool, man. The Man of Axe and Schlong, right? That's how you're known around your area.
Correct. Yeah. School zones especially.
Nice. And just remind us where you live, and remind us what's great about where you live.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. We're on the prairies. What's great about where I live is that it is about 300,000 people. So everything I want to do, I can do locally. But it's not crowded. It doesn't take an hour to get anywhere. You need to be like it would in maybe a larger city. I love it. I could see here living forever, except as we record this, it's in November and it's winter's in full effect. It's maybe minus 10, minus 12 outside, starting to snow. I could do without that.
Yeah, you were saying that you said it was snowing, and I was like, ah, and you were like, no. So why is snow a pain in the butt?
It's not maybe down where you're used to living. It would snow and then it'd be gone in a day or two, and you guys would think, "Oh, wasn't that fun?" Well, with it being November, that snow's here until April. So, and when more snow comes, it gets added to the bill. So we got to shovel it, move it around, drive through it, all that sort of crap. Yeah, it's what's the line from Star Wars? It's rough and it gets everywhere.
It's a very different way of living when snow is there. I lived in Germany for a couple of years, and I remember driving over to my mate's house, and even though I was going quite slowly and even though I had winter tires on, I was coming up to a very small roundabout, and I turned my steering wheel and the car just continued going straight. And it was fortunate because I was going really slow and it was only a small roundabout, but I was like, shit, the car is continuing to go straight even though I'm turning. So have you ever had any kind of like close moments with snow related stuff, like maybe slipping off your front porch or something car related?
But yeah, Dan, I'm 49 years old and I've lived in Canada my entire life. I've put cars in other cars. I've put my ass on the ground plenty of times. Yeah, it's going to happen. It's those things when you grow up in cold weather, you learn how to walk on snow and ice. It's just things you don't even think about, like a Canadian will look at a path and you can tell by the way the snow's sitting if that's snow that's fallen over ice, or you walk on the parts where it looks like it's snow but it's covering dirt, so that's safe to walk on, that kind of stuff. All these things, it's like learning how to walk in sand, like the Fremen. There's things but you're still going to get got eventually.
Yeah. I remember my dad was really impatient, right? My dad was like a really impatient guy, and we went walking in the snow once, and we walk along a road, and like the snow in the tire tracks had been compacted, so it was quite slippy, and then there'd been some like fresh snow that had gone over the top, and we walk along this road, and there was some people in front of us that were walking in the middle of the road between the tire tracks, and he got impatient that they were going too slow, so he kind of like went into the tire tracks and I guess forgot or just didn't think that the compacted snow is quite slippy, so he started walking really fast, and then he slipped, and it was like a cartoon, where that music goes whoop, 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 whoop. And he was like completely horizontal in the air and crashed down on the ground, and then the people that he was trying to take over just kind of walked past and was like, just be careful. And I was just like laughing my head off, and I was like, yeah, so I feel you, man. You got to learn how to deal with it properly. You got to learn where to tread and when not.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And every Canadian has a secret joy if you're driving on the highway and it's snowing or it's a little bit icy, and speed limit's maybe 110 kilometers an hour. So let's say you're doing 105. There's always going to be some jack off in a jacked up 4-wheel drive truck that blows by you going 130, shoots you dirty looks. And every single Canadian's secret joy is if 3 minutes down the road, if they're in the ditch with their hazards on, and you just drive by, and you just give them a little wave. I'm sure they got a cell phone; they'll be fine. They won't die. But even if they do, you're like, that's karma.
Nice, man. Well, before we start getting into the meat and potatoes of our conversation, talk to us about some how hobby has been in 2025 for you. Like not related to the game that we're going to talk about. What have you been hobbying? What you've been painting? What you've been doing this year?
I actually started the discussion about Shatterpoint. I've started playing games that I hadn't been playing for a long time. So I've been painting actively for the table. Got into Malifaux. I've got a couple forces for that. A lot of Shatterpoint stuff I've painted up. Some Kill Team. We've been dabbling in that. But also I was still doing with the display painting. And I managed to go to Las Vegas Open at the beginning of the year. They had 2 this year, and I competed in an event, and I was almost brought to tears, not for good reasons, because I was a grown man and I was really hoping I would have got a bronze medal, and I didn't get anything. So here I was at the time, 48-year-old man, and I was just crushed, gutted that my work wasn't deemed good enough. And then I decided to go to the awards ceremony anyway, and I got like a commended pin. And I was back in. all the pain was undone. But that's probably pretty embarrassing for an adult to feel that way about.
No, man. No, it's good. No, I like that because there's a lot of care in that, right? You took a lot of time to paint your stuff, no doubt. You kind of had a lot of excitement going to a place, and so to kind of get that commended pin at the end. Do you think they only gave it to you because you were just crying in the corner and they're like, yeah, go on, just give it him?
They didn't give a shit about me, or no. That was decided well in advance. And I guess to be fair, at my only previous experience to painting competitions, I sort of had 2 categories. I'd have a master's category and like a journeyman, a middle of the road category. Yeah. And I wanted to enter the middle of the road category because kind of the idea is you enter that journeyman category until you achieve a gold standard in that, and then you bumped up to masters. And I hadn't I just achieved bronze in journeyman, and I was hoping to maybe get a silver in journeyman. Well, this year at the Las Vegas Open, they only had the 1 category, the masters, but I was hoping for a bronze. So it was a bit of a stretch for me to hope or expect a bronze, and then I didn't make it. But getting that there was a couple of us that got the nod, like, you almost did it, buddy, and that's all it took was for someone to say, you're not here yet, but you're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit harsh not having those 2 categories, I say, because there's a lot of people that paint for money or professionally or stuff like that, So I mean, having that journeyman thing, I think I would say that it should be the first category that you have if you're going to have either. But yeah, anyway, that's cool, man. So what changed? You mentioned that you've been painting more for playing. So what's changed? Is it just wanting to socialize more? Did some new people come into your environment? What's the deal? What's changed?
No, absolutely not. No new people ever again. It's the same old guys. We just, we're all friends. We still get together and hang out. So it's not even more socializing. It's just, I think we kind of decided that maybe it was time to get back into playing a game, and we all we've taken stabs at it. And when I say we all, I mean, I'm a veteran of about 10 games of Shatterpoint right now, and rather playing with the stuff I bought and painted or the stuff I bought for my friend Ryan to play with me. So it's not like we all took this jump together. It was just me deciding I wanted to play this game with people.
Well, sometimes that's what you got to do. I think that's really important, isn't it? It's about barrier removal. I'm the same. I'm like, if there's a game that I really want to play and I speak to my mate, I'm like, hey man, are you interested in this sort of game? And depending on what noise he makes, I don't even really listen to the word. I kind of listen to the and then it's like, then I know if I need to buy 2 forces myself, and so I ain't got a problem buying 2 forces.
Has it gone like a ooh? Yeah. Or it's just the varying levels of indifference. There's never any excitement.
So yeah, man, that's cool. So that's good. So talk to us about some about the non-Shatterpoint ones. So you mentioned Kill Team there. You mentioned Malifaux. So talk about some maybe nearly made it that we could have talked about that you enjoy, but we're not going to talk about specifically in this show.
Legion was one of it, because I love Star Wars, so that game always appealed to me. Just kind of went through a 2nd edition. I might look at it again, and the gameplay didn't look super thrilling to me. It was just a weird abstract thing at the time that bothered me, where if I was right, the unit, let's say you got 10 stormtroopers, really all that matters is 1 stormtrooper, and then the rest are kind of wound markers.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the thing is, the original thing of the game, that I was fortunate to speak to Alex, who designed the game, and he said that it's a hero game with supported units. So it was about the characters. So you had like operatives, and then you had commanders, and so it was about you picking like 2 or 3 characters, and then they're doing their thing, but they've got like a little supporting cast. But yeah, the average stormtrooper or the average kind of rebel fighter, they didn't really mean so much. They were kind of just like the stage that the characters can perform on. That kind of makes sense. So I remember, and I bought into that ethos. I bought into that. So there was a time where Darth Vader charged. It took him a long time because Darth Vader moves really slowly. So this was probably on like turn 3, and like Darth Vader has been slowly marching down the middle of the battlefield, and then at the start of turn 3, he finally got there. And there was a bunch of rebel troopers there. I think it was like 7 rebel troopers. And he started off by just throwing his lightsaber and took out like 3 of them. And then he used force lightning to take out another couple. And then he got into close combat and just wiped out the entire squad. And I was like, amazed. I was like, that's amazing. Even though it happened to me, I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then another thing that happened, not the same game, but same guy I was playing, is that I was Luke Skywalker and kind of like jumped in front of 2 of the scout bikers. And this Luke Skywalker did Luke Skywalker stuff and just wiped out this unit of scout, like Imperial scout bikers, and it was just really cool. So that's what I really loved about Star Wars Legion. It's like a character game, really, just with supporting cast. It's not like a kind of like a massed battle game where your stormtroopers are actually going to do anything. So, but I'm not sure if it's changed. I kind of got out of it because they were starting to do a whole bunch of resculpts, and they were starting to talk about having full units of stormtroopers, like 10, whereas before it was only like maybe like 3 to 7. And I kind of like, that's when I got turned off a little bit, because it was like it was going away from the game that I really cherished. And I'm not saying it would be any less, but it seems to be going more into this mass battle kind of units actually doing stuff as opposed to character games.
I think it is into more of a mass battle game, but because the game you're describing is Shatterpoint.
yeah. Which is, and I don't also play Shatterpoint either. And the reason why I didn't play Shatterpoint, not because I didn't think it looked cool, it was because there was no crossover with the minis. And it was like, well, I invested a whole bunch of money in these Star Wars Legion models, and then it's like Shatterpoint. It's like, how many Boba Fett's do I really actually need? How many General Veers do I actually really need? So
one thing that I'm really stunned about, because Shatterpoint, I guess it's Shatterpoint is in, I think, 40 millimeter scale, and Legion is in 28 millimeter scale. So it's quite different. Like they're nowhere near. The miniatures are not close to each other. Yeah. But what I'm surprised that no one has just for people who are interested in Shatterpoint, why they don't just play it with 28 millimeter miniatures. Yeah. Like if you remember way back when GW made that Inquisitor game, and that there's still a sub community that plays it just in 28 millimeter scale, so they don't have to make different terrain. I'm surprised no one ever did that for Shatterpoint.
And then with 3D printing as well now, you can probably pick up the stuff a heck of a lot cheaper than you can, and maybe just get like the cards and the kind of peripheral game stuff you can do it. But anyway, I'm not poo-pooing it. I don't want to feel like I am interested about Shatterpoint. I am excited about Shatterpoint, but I've never jumped in for a few different reasons. So now's the time that you can start blowing my skirt up and get me excited about Shatterpoint. So when and why did you first pick up Shatterpoint?
I picked up Shatterpoint purely as a painting project. Just my love of Star Wars was rekindled. I can't remember. I saw something that was marginally not terrible because I'd been let down by a lot of recent stuff. And then I just wanted to start painting it again. Then the core box, Canadian, was about $170, which is a lot to buy something on a whim. But I just happened to see it. A store was getting out of it, so it was like 50% off. And the core box is a good, nice, heavy box. It comes with, I think, 16 unit entries, so I think it's about 20 miniatures total, a bunch of terrain, your dice and all that, but a lot of miniatures to paint, and they're really nice. So I picked that up, started painting, not giving a shit about the game, and then I thought, well, I may as well check out the game, and it's completely abstract. It's alien from almost any other miniature game I've played, in that it's got so many things that if you told me about Shatterpoint, I'd say, get out of here. I have no interest in it. It's a different scale. The things that I don't love, it doesn't use measurement. Like something's not 4 inches away. It's the 2 stick. Yeah. Or it's range 2. You put your 2 stick. 6 inches away is your 3 stick, and so on and so forth. Yeah. I didn't love that. And then it's got, instead of using regular dice. It's got all your proprietary dice with symbols on it, which I didn't think I'd love, but I really enjoy playing the game.
That's cool. That's cool. And there's a lot to love. It's I would say it's a polished package. That's what I would say with it. I'm wary a little bit, and I want to ask you this question because I want to ask you if you've ever felt it. I was wary a little bit. There seemed to be a whole bunch of like special edition and promo stuff and that kind of thing. Do you find that the game moves quite quickly and you have to kind of pay to catch up, or is it quite a settled game?
Oh, absolutely. None of the promos. I would think most of the promo stuff you see are like. I'll describe how the game activates in a second, but if you draw your Obi-Wan Kenobi card, you play Obi-Wan Kenobi, or you can put him into a reserve and play something else. The promo stuff is like a fancier Obi-Wan Kenobi card, makes zero game difference.
Okay.
There's or they're fancier dice or fancier measuring sticks. Right. There's nothing out there that makes the game better or more accessible to you as a promotion.
Because I was wary about it initially because I was playing Star Wars Legion, and like you're saying, it's a different scale. It felt like it was like very similar to Star Wars Legion. It was like kind of like it's like a little kid that's playing his Sega Genesis, and then the big brother kind of comes in and says, "No, I'm going to play this," and like slowly just elbows the little kid off. I felt like the little kid being elbowed off the sofa, like Star Wars Legion was being elbowed off the sofa. And also there was a couple of like special edition things that was like it was like I think it was Obi-Wan against Darth Vader, like a kind of diorama type thing. And there's a few things that kind of turned me off from it. But so it's nice to know. It's nice of you to say that a lot of these peripheral things are more kind of just like optional extras as opposed to things that needed to be bought.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll break down the game real quick, and then we'll talk about stuff like that if that's okay.
Yeah.
For anyone out there who doesn't know, so Star Wars Shatterpoint, 40mm scale, squad-based skirmish game. When you decide that you want to play Shatterpoint, you need to form a strike team. Strike team is made of 2 squads. Each squad is led by a primary. These are the heroes you know from the movies. Your Darth Vaders, Luke Skywalkers. There's some obscure characters too, characters from the animated series, stuff like that. All in all, I think there's something like 37 boxes out there you can buy. And guess what, Dan? I own every single one.
No, you don't surprise me.
Sustainable gaming. Get out of here. So you pick a primary, and then a primary gives you a number of points to buy from, between 9 and 7. So Darth Vader, he's Darth Vader, we all probably know what to expect from him. He only gives you 7 points from which to buy a secondary, which would be something like a Stormtrooper Sergeant, and then your grunts are what are called the support troops, and those are typically Stormtroopers, Rebel Commandos, Clone Troopers, that kind of a thing. So a squad will usually be 1 primary, 1 secondary choice, and then your support choice. Your support choice is usually 2 miniatures that are treated as a single unit, and you do that twice. The choice you have to make right off the bat, the game is split into 2 eras. There's the Clone Wars era and then the Rebellion era. All of your choices have to be from the same era, so you can't mix Luke Skywalker with Clone Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, because that's silly, Dan. You know you can't do that. Your opponent can pick an entirely different era. The guy that I play with the most, Ryan, he plays Darth Vader with the Inquisition, so that's a Rebellion era, and I've been playing mostly Clone Wars stuff, and that works out just fine.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's really good. That's a really good synopsis. Thank you. What do you like most about like list building? You mentioned you got all the boxes, right? So you got a lot of options there. So why did you get all the boxes before we talk about list building? Why did you want to get them all?
Well, once I decided that I like the game, I really like painting the scale. It's a lot of fun. And the miniatures by Atomic Mass are very good. I still think Games Workshop plastics are the best on the market, and it's not even close. But Atomic Masses are very, very good. And it's a very nice painting scale. The faces are a little bigger. There's a challenge of painting lightsabers. I'm trying to do some stuff with, the light glowing off the lightsaber. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And that's really important. It's really important to note that, it's really good. Like you're saying, you just got it for a painting challenge. You like the scale, and it's important to hoover that stuff up because we don't know how long games are going to exist for. So when you find something that you really, really like, I know we talk about sustainable gaming and you had like a little dig in the ribs just there, like, but in some ways, like hoovering stuff up in the time of abundance is really important, because what you don't want to be doing is kind of like just picking bits and pieces here and then having to pick it up on eBay in a few years' time if it goes out of print, right? So in some ways, you kind of invested in the future, right?
That's a big part why I bought everything, is once I decided I did like the game. I mean, licensed games come and go. Like how many have you seen since the time you've been there? How many Star Wars games have there been that have come and gone from different suppliers? They could get pulled out at any time. So now I have them. It's fun. If I ever feel like painting Queen Amidala, which I won't, she's here right, waiting for me. But it's all built and primed and assembled, so it's all table ready if need be, which is an important distinction. So if I have any friend who is some weirdo who says, "Oh, I really want to play Queen Amidala and her handmaidens," things, all right, pal, come on over, I got you.
And you're like, I only want to play that faction. I don't want to play anybody else.
Well, if I can't play Queen Amidala, well, you just count me out.
Shit out of luck. That's cool, man. But yeah, so did you buy them all new to support a local store? Did you buy them second hand? Like, what was your strategy for picking up all those boxes?
Brand new booty. But that never even occurred to me to buy used. That probably would have been a good idea, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people who've picked it up and not been able to get it going.
Well, that's what I'm doing at the moment. You'll probably be delighted to hear this, but that's what I've been doing with the Song of Ice and Fire. And as I say, a Song of Ice and Fire, I know that there's at least one person having to do some physical exercise now. There's that'll come out in a few weeks, around Christmas time. But so I've been picking up. Are you aware of that? Do you know that deal?
No, I don't know the deal. I know you mentioned a Song of Ice and Fire frequently.
Well, yeah, there's a thing going around where whenever I mention a Song of Ice and Fire, certain people have to they have to pause the podcast and do certain things. But yeah, that'll be around Christmas time on the Discord. We'll pick that up. But anyway, so I've been kind of waiting and looking for good deals on the Song of Ice and Fire stuff, because same as you, I really like the game. I'm really invested in it. I really like just painting the miniature. So even if the game just like imploded tomorrow, I'd still want to play, and I keep that going, and I still want to paint. So I've been kind of looking on different kind of secondhand kind of groups that I'm part of, and then just whenever anyone's getting out of the hobby or when anyone's getting out of the game, I'm just kind of hoovering up those boxes secondhand, so that if a mate wants to come by and he wants to kind of play, I can just give him a good deal and be like, yeah, mate, just give us this amount of money, just recoup my money from the secondhand market. Or you could, like saying, just build up this world and universe, and the models fit very nicely into another couple of games that I play too. So it's kind of like a no-brainer, really. It's like I'm invested, I'm here, I can transfer these models, I enjoy the game, I'll keep the game going. So it kind of makes sense. So it's good, man, nice. What about terrain stuff? Because another thing, before we kind of start digging into mechanics and why I love the game so much, like I really wanted to note the terrain. The terrain looks really cool. It looks like you can buy a whole bunch of various different types of terrain. So did you pick up the terrain too, or is that something that didn't really interest you?
Because the box set comes with what I would describe as just quite not enough terrain, like most basic sets do, right? But it was interesting. I assembled it and I painted it. All my terrain that we play on is fully painted now, and that's a good feeling with fully painted terrain on a battle mat. It looks nice. The terrain feels very Star Wars, but it's simple. The game itself is pretty cool in that it encourages you to play three-dimensionally. So there's a lot of square buildings with walkways. And then the official Atomic Mass terrain is, different buildings with walkways. I bought a few new buildings. Once I get that all painted, I'm going to get a friend of mine, his son's 3D printing for cash, mercenary 3D printing. And there's a ton of excellent FDM style, like simple buildings out there that are really cool, that feel like different areas of the world. But the terrain's fun, and the good thing about when you're playing Shatterpoint is that it feels like you're playing Star Wars. As you were describing your Legion experience before, like Darth Vader will walk across, and whoever he touches is going to have a bad time of it.
That's cool.
And all that experience is relevant, and the terrain helps. both with how it looks and the way it's played.
Let's start digging into the game specifics then. You kind of mentioned list building there, right? Where you pick like a main dude, then you pick like a kind of secondary dude, and then you got some supporting things. So let's dig into that a little bit more and develop it a little bit more. So what tends to be the certain size game? Is there just one standard game, or is there different sizes of game? And just recap, like, how are we building our force?
One size a game. So your strike team comprises of 2 squads. Your squad is each led by a primary. So you're going to pick 2 primaries. Each primary is then going to have a number of points that they get. So, for example, if we're talking about the Empire, Darth Vader only gives you 7 points from which to buy the rest of your troops. Director Krennic gives you 9 points. He's not as strong as Darth Vader is, so he gets stronger supporting cast. And that's it. It's fixed. One side doesn't get more guys than the other. It's a mirror match in terms of points. There's nothing asymmetric about it until it comes down to I'll talk about list building in a little bit, because I'm going to focus on the positive things right now. So the way it goes, you pick your primaries. Now, you're not restricted. When you pick a primary, let's say, Dan, you've decided you want to play Shatterpoint with me, you can have Darth Vader as one of your primaries, and then you could have Han Solo as your other primary. And Darth Vader could have Chewbacca and Lobot, the dude from Cloud City, on his team if you wanted. Every miniature has different synergies with keywords and such. Like Darth Vader might have something where at the beginning of a turn he's got an ability, find new ways to motivate them, and then there'll be a keyword, like he can pick another Galactic Empire troop and move them a little bit across the board. Right. So if you're playing with different troops, you might not have access to that. Right. But there is, annoyingly, when I play Shatterpoint and the people that I'm playing with, we all want to kind of recreate our favorite scenes from the movies or put things together. But if you go, other people look at it less as recreating something from the movies, and they look at it almost like a deck building experience. Yeah. So you can, sometimes the best choices to go with each other aren't anything that would make sense thematically or from
that makes me pretty grumpy, to be honest. I mean, well, part of me, 20% of me is like, yeah, why can't Han Solo go with Darth Vader? But then 80% is like, no.
It's stupid, but that is a part of the game. Like if you look up the tournament scene, it's quite often like there is a list for whatever reason. Darth Vader, some units can exist in both eras currently. They're in the Clone Wars and they're in the Republic. Darth Vader is one of those people, because he got about 8 seconds of screen time at the end of the Clone Wars cartoon.
Okay.
So he's grandfathered in. So you can have the Jedi. You can have Mace Windu and Darth Vader as your 2 primaries if you want.
I don't think I want to play someone who does that, to be fair. That's the exact thing. So,
I really like the game. I like playing with my group of friends, but I think the first time, because when someone says, if someone's got Mace Windu and Darth Vader, it's not because they've always had this matchup in their head. It's because they've found out that this is a very powerful combination that's going to give them an advantage on the table, and that's the kind of player I'd maybe rather not engage with. Well, that's my bias in the game.
No, I get that, and in some ways, people should be free to do those certain things. But yeah,
that's the spirit of the game, or the rules can always be argued, but that's most definitely in the rules. It's supposed to do that, and what the game designers try to do is to provide enough thematic synergies. Like there's an interesting, so Lando Calrissian, for example, he plays in the late era. He's got an interesting ability where at the beginning of the game you decide whether he's for the Empire or for the Rebellion.
Right.
You pick, because he's got I got a lot of problems of my own. So
that makes sense.
Right. So there's thematic stuff going on. I think the game designers feel probably more like you and I do, but the people playing the game are very quick to take choices that thematically rock my world, but on the game board might be something else.
But I guess also like commercially, it makes the game more likely to be a commercial success. Like you don't have to do that, play like that unless you want to. But I guess it makes all the boxes more accessible to many more people and makes it more commercially viable. You'd say, right?
No, I would argue like if when I heard that, if I knew that was part of the game, I probably wouldn't have bought in. And when I described it to you, your first it was like, ugh, maybe I'll pass then. So are we selling more boxes or are we not?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah.
So it's not really high on the game, but there are some things that thematically bother me about it. Okay, so now we've decided we're going to play a game. You and I, Dan, we're doing it. So you pick your list.
I don't want to. With the podcast finished, now you mentioned that, I can't talk to anyone.
It's too late. Put my Kuna Madonna model and you're back in. It's gonna be. So you got your 2 squads. You also pick from a mission pack, and there's about 4 mission packs. Now, unfortunately, when I say mission packs, they're just the way the game plays right now, and there are some different play styles that they're working on that they've got on their website, but mostly it's standing around on bright points on the map. It's all about controlling objectives, which you're left to fill in yourself. Like what does that bright light on the floor actually represent? Is it the stolen plans or whatnot? That's up to us to narratively fill in if we want to. So you show up, you've got your mission pack, which will have a different orientation of bright lights. I've got my mission pack of different board. We roll dice, see who the first player is. We pick from your mission pack. Then we set up the board, and there's going to be usually a grid. So in the starting mission pack, there's like a tic-tac-toe grid of 9 points. And we flip there. The game is played. It's built in best of 3. They're called struggles. So there's a momentum track. Each of us, there's a common track between us. The scoreboard starts at 0, and on either side of it, out to 8 is what we call the momentum.
Okay.
The first player whose score touches your momentum cube wins the struggle. And then we immediately flip to the second struggle without resetting the board or changing anything on the miniatures. The score will reset and we'll go on to struggle 2, and then if necessary, the third struggle to determine the winner.
Okay.
Now, we play. You score points by standing on objectives. And in different struggles, there might be something where you roll randomly, and one of the objectives might be the priority objective, and it's worth 2 points instead of 1. Mm-hmm. You score. That's how you score points. That moves the white cube in the middle. How you move your black cube is by wounding other units. You wound a unit, you get a point of momentum. And some characters might have something that influences it. If Anakin Skywalker wounds a dude, he gets another point of momentum because he's a stab-happy kill guy. And then if you cannot move it's got a built-in, if the score tracker is back on 0, if it's neutral, everyone gets a point of momentum. So the clock does slowly tick down. You'd never play a game that had no end to it.
Okay.
So the first struggle ends. Dan, you beat me. Your Queen Amidala tactics were too much for me to handle. You won the first struggle. We reset the scoreboard. All the miniatures stay where they are. Everyone's got the same amount of wounds or conditions you can be assigned during the game. I flip the second card, and the second card's going to have 2 maps on it. The advantage the advantage the player who lost the first struggle gets is now I pick which map we're going to play on. Mm-hmm. So typically it'll be asymmetric, and I pick the map that gives me the advantage. Maybe I've got more guys on the objectives right off the bat. So that's what sort of a built-in bounce back mechanic.
That's cool. From
watching battle reports online and stuff like that, the games typically go to all 3 struggles, but I've lost quite a few games to 2-0. So
well, it's good. It's good that you've got that. I mean, there's a couple of things you talked about in terms of keeping game even. You talked about how the same amount of guys, generally speaking, same amount of points, 1 game size. There's certain mechanics that do seem to kind of keep it together, and that's interesting. You talk about momentum. So let's talk about that a little bit more, about like having momentum. If you kill people, you gain momentum. What are the benefits of that, though? Like, just dig into it a little bit more. Like, what is the benefit of me injuring or wounding some of your guys? What do I get?
So it's Shatterpoint is not like most war games where it's not often a miniature flat out gets taken off the battlefield, like dead. A primary character will have a set number of hit points, say 9 to 11. And when I attack you, Dad, I guess we should go over how that is all resolved. You've got something called a stance card, and the stance card is going to give you how many attack dice you roll and how many defense dice you roll, and it's going to be both in hand-to-hand combat and at ranged. Now, the primary character, someone like Darth Vader, will have two sides to the stance card, typically one that's more offense-oriented and one that's more defense-oriented. And when we get into it, so you've done it. You outfoxed me. Queen Amidala is now fighting Lando Calrissian, and you're shooting Lando. So let's say Queen Amidala has an attack. You got 7 dice. You roll your 7 dice, and it's going to give you 4 different results. It can be a miss. It can be a hit. It can be a critical hit. Or it can be what's called an expertise roll. And every character in the game has what's called a combat tree. And the tree is going to have different choices you can make with however many successes you achieve. Now, you shot me, I'm going to roll defense dice. And my defense dice are going to be either a miss, a blank, that's going to be a block, or, again, expertise. We're going to compare results, and however many successes you get, that's how many steps you get to go down your combat tree, which will do things like damage the opponent, apply conditions, like you might pin me down or disarm me, or there could be other effects, like now your guy can reposition himself, heal themselves, move other troops, and the expertise tree will be different from character to character.
That's
like It is. It's interesting, and they've done a very good job of making each character that I've come across so far play like you would want them to be. I'm a big fan of General Grievous, so you can pick his attack side where he's got all sorts of attack dice. He does all sorts of damage. It's his whirring forearm lightsaber sort of deal. Yeah. But he's ass horrible at defense, which is how you'd want that. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So that's the really fun part. It does feel cinematic. We've had a lot of games where I can't remember who won or lost, but I'll remember the time. Remember when Anakin Skywalker came up, chopped that dude's arm off, then jumped over there and chopped the other dude's arm off. Yeah. And those are the experiences that I start to crave a lot more. Maybe, I don't know if that's my old age or what, that it's less about winning and more about creating those little moments, and Shatterpoint does that very well.
That's really good to hear. I mentioned that about my experience about Star Wars Legion, where Darth Vader just slowly walked towards me, and I was like, I'm fine, he's really far away, and I was like, shit, he's not very far away anymore, he's right there. And then he just got me to bits, right?
Yeah, and it's that's Shatterpoint's key strength, I would think, is that it plays like you would want the movies. Everyone's got, if you enjoy that character, there's going to be things that just reading the card make you feel really, really cool. Like the Mandalorian from the Mando, his card has, because his character also has Grogu with him as well. So one of his abilities is, come on, kid, do the magic hand thing. Where you get little Grogu to help out. So that feels like you're playing a scene from your favorite or your favorite characters in the scene. It's really good at that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So talk about kind of game length. How long are we playing if we're playing a game typically?
The first couple of games where we were learning the rules, a lot of flipping back and forth, were 2.5 hours, but that's a learning session. Now I would say we can do a best of 3. 90 minutes is probably extreme. That's if we're doing an awful lot of shit talking and stuff like that. It doesn't take all that long to play, but we still do an awful lot of forgetting. Like, oh man, I forgot this. Is it okay if I go back at that kind of a thing? Because there's a lot of interaction between the different characters. That's what the game's based on. Is that you should have each character should be doing something not only in their activation but helping other people and all sorts of things. It's also a random activation. It's a deck of cards. Each character has a card that goes in your order deck. And there's also an in-game currency that's force points. When you pick your primaries, each character gives you force points in your pool. So let's say you got a force pool of 6. You took Darth Vader and the Grand Inquisitor. Each one of you gives you 3 points. On it's your turn, you flip a card. And you have the option of either playing that character or spending a force point and putting them into reserve. And that means that when it's your turn, you have the option of flipping a card from your deck or playing the character you've got in reserve. Cool. Once you're out of cards, which should typically be 7 cards, then your force pool refreshes.
That's cool, man. So when you are kind of playing, how are we activating? Like when that unit is activated, what choices do they have when they activate? Is it kind of like, have 2 actions, 3 actions, 1 action? Like, how is someone activating on the battlefield?
It's 2 actions, as you said. So you flip a card again because you're addicted to playing the Naboo corridor. You got the Handmaidens of Naboo. They're a support choice, and this is where it's a touch abstract. I grab my head around it, but it's 1 character card, but it's 2 models on the table. Yeah. You've got 2 actions, and that can be heal, move, attack, focus, take cover, kind of your basic wargaming stuff. If you're picking a support choice that has more than 1 model, each model does that action in whatever order you like. Okay. So you've picked the Handmaidens. First thing you're doing with them is you're going to move. So they can move in different directions, do whatever they want, different parts of the board. And then you pick, I'm going to attack with them. You pick the order they're going to attack. They can attack different characters, do whatever they want. The odd thing to wrap my head around is that if you shoot either character, you're shooting the unit. So I can shoot your Handmaiden that you put over on the right flank of the board, do enough damage to take her out, and the other one is now in the same game state as well. Right, okay. They both share the same status and game state. That's a little wacky, but it works well for gameplay anyway.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So you do your action. It starts, you conduct yourself. It's all about scoring points on the board. So you've activated your Handmaidens, you walk over. Control of objective is determined by who has the most models on a given point. So you've taken 2 objectives. Let's say you wounded 1 guy, so you had 8 momentum. Now you have you've gone down 1, so you have 7 momentum, which is actually better because you're 7 away from 0. So you got the point of momentum for wounding a guy, and then you stood on 2 points and you scored 2 points. So you scored 2. So we move the little cube onto space 2 on your track, and you're at 7 momentum instead of 8. So if you're 5 away from winning. That's how that works.
That's cool, man.
Your turn's over.
Is there any sort of like campaign structure, or is it all just individual kind of one and done scenarios?
Individual games, except that Atomic Mass put out a mini campaign, which is up to 3 kind of linked scenarios, and that's intended to be a little more narrative. It looks pretty interesting, where that would be like like a prison break. Let's say you got Cassian Andor and Jinner, so they want to go steal the plans. So you got your defense force, and I think you're meant to play the same squad over up to 3 games. Like if anyone wins 2 games in a row, the campaign's kind of over. And in between games, you've got guys can kind of get minor quirks to level up based on the performance of the game. Period. I think they're going to start leaning more into that and doing more narrative things, because the other game mode that they just announced is called Legendary Encounters, where rather than it's a 3-player version, and instead of it being you and me fighting each other, let's say you and I are on the same side, we're going to pick a secondary character and support characters, and we're going to play one character who's just using Darth Maul, for example, and it's going to be the movie version of Darth Maul, where he's got 20 hit points. He's just a burning ball of rage and lightsaber, zipping around, wrecking stuff. And our job is to stop him or slow him down. At the outset, to me, it sounded kind of lame, because whoever says, "Oh, I want to I don't want to be the hero. I want to be the lame battle droids getting chopped up. I don't know who signs up for that. Same guy who wants to play the handmaidens of Naboo. But the gameplay does look kind of fun, and they've taken interesting narrative steps with it. There's a version where Anakin Skywalker is the Anakin Skywalker, but the more damage he does, the more he gets closer to the dark side. So there's this kind of a ping pong thing that what I like most about it is that they're taking chances with the game. They've got the core game laid out, and they're finding other ways to use your toys, which is always good.
I've not really had too much interaction with Atomic Mass games, but what I have had and seen is that they tend to be quite active, in the social media world, and they seem to put out quite a lot of articles and quite a lot of communication in regards to kind of where things are going. So yeah, it is good when they seem to be like trying different things and seeing what fits and doubling down on things that seem to be quite popular, right?
They try different things, and it appears that they're fully willing to admit that they've made mistakes and change things. And mostly the player base is fairly accommodating to that. The game went through in May of this year, went through a fairly extensive overhaul with a lot of the cars. Some things are just way too powerful, and some things weren't powerful enough. And everyone seems to be fairly pleased with how that all shook out. I didn't play much before that update, so I don't have, I can't report on whether it was good, bad, or otherwise. But everyone else seems to be happy with it.
Right, that's cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about in terms of mechanics or gameplay or anything like that before we move to kind of summing up?
What I thought I would not like about the gameplay was the dice pool mechanic and all that, but I really enjoy it. It's quite neat. You roll your dice, so you say, I got 4 hits and 2 crits, and then I roll my defense dice. It feels, it does like you genuinely are enjoying that. The mass. Okay, so I got 3 successes. All right, I'm gonna shove you twice. I'm gonna pin you. It's an interesting part of the game that I didn't think I would give a shit about, but I really like it.
That's cool.
Yeah. I do want to say that the airing of the grievances, the list building thing is a little hard for me to wrap my head around.
But if you're not playing competitive, against people you don't know, it's not necessarily
I'm not, right? but everyone's got that one friend, and Adam, if you ever listen to this, you're the guy where you look at everything as a puzzle to be solved, and if there's something within the rules of the game, and why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
To give yourself an advantage. That's a perfectly sound, logical way to think about things. But then the other part of me is just like, come on, man.
No, I get it. I see both sides of that coin, right? You always enjoy it.
Right.
So as we kind of begin to kind of like sum up and kind of think about things, there's certain things that attract me to the game, and there's certain things that you seem to like. So the models, right? How much would a box of dudes? So if I want to start, not a starter set. So let's say that just Queen Amidala, right? How much is that going to set me back?
About $60 Canadian, so I think they're 45 American. And that box, when you buy that box, that's its own squad. That's got a primary, a secondary, and 2 supports.
Okay.
And they're all meant to be played together. With one exception, each box is a self-contained squad. So at any point, if your friend had all the terrain and requisites, and you went out and bought 2 boxes, you're in.
Okay.
If they're from the same era,
okay,
right? The one box that isn't is actually my favorite box. It's called "We Don't Need Their Scum," and it's it's for the bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
and they're all secondary choices. So it's Boba Fett, IG-88, Bosk, and Dengar. So they can't form a team themselves, but they're additions that can, bounty hunter mercenaries that can go into any faction you want.
That's cool, man. So I like that. I like even like you're saying that you mentioned at the start, even just for the painting challenge, I think just picking up a box like that and just to paint them with a slightly bigger scale, I think that there's value there, right? So I think you probably get $45 worth of value out of that if you enjoy painting, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And the core box itself is a good value because there's so many miniatures in there, and the terrain's nice. It's got your dice, all you need to play. The rules themselves, I think, are free.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
You do need goofy proprietary dice. I'm sure you can make do with just D8s and D6s if you needed.
You can whittle your own. You can go out to the garden, chop down a tree and whittle your own.
Sure.
So then you also like I'm super into the terrain. It's a little bit like this with this game, but also like I think it's Marvel Crisis Protocol. I'll just see.
Same scale. Marvel Crisis Protocol and Shatterpoint are the same scale. I don't know that the terrain's much of a crossover.
No, but I see. But the point I'm making is that I see the terrain from both of those games, and it makes me excited. It sounds crazy, but Marvel Crisis Protocol, like I saw like a set of dump trucks and some like dumpsters, and I'm like, that's really cool terrain, and I kind of wanted to get involved in the game just because of the dump truck and the dumpsters, man. But that's cool. So terrain is good.
I'd make fun of you, but I felt the same way. I got the first Marvel set for Christmas. Like the only thing from the entire set I painted is the dumpster.
That's why we like each other, mate. That's why we're friends, right? We both like. Did you write any kind of graffiti or anything? You draw anything rude on the dumpsters, or is it just like a straight out the factory one?
Oh, okay, all right. So, without going into my I was in the hospital for a while. My appendix ruptured, and I was in for about a week. And there's a lady who I never saw, but she was in a bed, kind of separated by a curtain next to me, and her family kept on visiting her. And I got to hear all her stories. And she made a comment, and a guy came and said, "Grandma, I almost won at bingo last night," which to me is a hilarious statement because I think everyone almost wins bingo. I think we're built into the game. And the patient, the grandma, said, "Well, who won?" And the guy said, "Donald." And the grandma said, was it Big Donald or Shitty Donald?" And it was Shitty Donald. And I mean, that was 15 years ago. But I told that story to my friend Ryan, and he named one of his characters Shitty Donald in a campaign. So now all of my terrain has Shitty Donald lives somewhere on it. So I had to look up the language in Star Wars, all those squiggles, is called Orabesh. And I know this because I looked it up and I had to translate Shitty Donald lives in Orabesh so I could paint it onto one of my Star Wars Shatterpoint buildings. So then when I'm playing Ryan, and he said, "Oh, you painted some graffiti on that." And I said, "Yeah." And I think he guessed, he goes, "Let's see Shitty Donald lives." Yeah. Yes, it does. So yeah, that is the graffiti I put on in all my terrain. Like every table I paint has to have that somewhere.
Right, that's amazing.
Yeah.
When you eventually pass away at some point, unless you're a robot and you don't pass away, you need to put that somewhere on like maybe a gravestone, like on the back of the gravestone, but like at the bottom, Shitty Donald lives.
Yeah, I need when I die, there's going to be the mother of all Easter eggs. And thousands of years ago, when the aliens come sift through the ruins of our civilization and they find my headstone, they're gonna really interpret that in ways that it is not meant to be interpreted.
It'll be like a documentary, and they'll be sitting there going, "Yeah, like, what is this? Is this some sort of rebellious kind of statement? Is it political? Like, what's the deal? Shitty Donald lives." That's cool, man. That's awesome. So terrain is good. Minis are good. Game is good. When is the game at its best?
Game's at its best when you're playing someone who feels invested in the characters, and because it's Star Wars, that's already kickstarted for you. So the guy I played the most, my friend Ryan, I gave him the stuff he plays with, and so there's no, like, he didn't go out and choose those things, but it's Darth Vader and Stormtroopers and the Inquisition. So he's invested because when his character is doing something, it's Darth Vader doing that. And if you're of a certain age, that means something to you, right? So when it's at its best, it's you're getting characters that you have an investment in as a character, not even as a gaming device, doing something that feels fun to you, right? So Obi-Wan Kenobi, Clone Wars era Obi-Wan Kenobi has a wonderful ability called "Hello there." So you get to, when Obi-Wan Kenobi jumps up because that's the ability you jump, and then you add a bonus to your next attack. He gets to jump up and say hello there, and then chop a guy. It's great. It's fantastic. That's, I'm sure, what the makers of the game wanted you to feel when you play it, and it does. It comes out. Even though, if I were to describe the game, it's walking around, standing on shiny points on the floor, playing on terrain that you can't use for any other game. It doesn't sound like a good sell. It's a ton of fun, and I strongly recommend it to everyone. Your core set comes with enough that you and a buddy can both play.
Nice. That's cool, man. That's really great. I really enjoy these conversations, not only just with you, but also with our loved ones. It's really cool just to get together. So is there anything that we've missed? Is there anything we haven't mentioned? Is anything else you want to sneak in there just as the kind of the truck doors are shutting and we drive off into the sunset?
I will make an admission. I am a return guest. I was on episode 216, and I know that because I listen to it about once a month because I love to hear the sound of my voice.
Nice.
And in that we just talked about, I really enjoy painting as its own hobby. I'm a painter first, gamer distant second. I really, as the British would say, slagged off the company Army Painter because their paint was awful. I'll take that back. They went to work, they threw their original recipe in the bin. Now they got Army Painter Fanatic. It's a wonderful paint.
Nice.
So go Army Painter. They're involved in the community. They employ good people. They have a really, really good product. And I would be happy. I think AK Interactive and Army Painter are my two go-tos, and I'm slowly replacing everything I run out of with Army Painter.
Nice. That's cool, man. That's a good. That's cool. That's good. I like that. That's awesome. And now, not only will you be able to listen to 216, you can listen to this one too. You're more than welcome to come on any other time you want as well. So whenever you want to come on, if you've got anything you want to talk about, I'm more than welcome in if you want to come on and have a conversation, mate. But I think that's all we got time for. Unfortunately, what's your weekend got planned? So it's Saturday morning for me now, but it's Friday night for you. So what's your weekend got in store for you?
After this, I think I can go down and have a drink with the wife. Tomorrow night is the staff Christmas party, so I'll be having plenty of drinks with the squad. I really like my work party. Some people don't like work. No, I've been there 28 years. I get along with a lot of people, and the ones I don't, they don't feel comfortable coming up and talk to me because I do my best to be not approachable.
Yeah. What's your not approachable technique? Like, is it a body posture? Is it grumbles? Like, if I was walking over to you with a big smile on my face and you really didn't want to talk to me, what's your approach? What would you be doing?
Well, if you walk over with a big smile on my face, yeah, I want to talk to you. But there's some people that don't. I'm in the sales department, so a lot of people have opinions because the sales guys are the ones saying, "Hey, I need this by this time." Mostly, right? So there's a lot of people who feel differently. So the people who are all smiles and want to come up, we're going to have a good time. The ones who feel like they want to talk about work and want to air the grievances, it's body posture. There's a thing I can do with my face. I've got big, fantastic eyebrows and deep set eyes. If I just move them a little bit so it's kind of squinty, Clint Eastwood like, they're not going to talk to you. They're going to beat it.
That's cool, man. And what are you going to ask Santa for anything in terms of hobby stuff?
I beat Santa to the punch. I got a delivery from Virgo's Vault today. Tomorrow I'm ordering that Warhammer Quest set. I don't know if you saw it with all the fantastic...
I did.
Yeah.
Dude, the price, man. The price killed me.
I am going to buy two. I'm not saying that just to fight your sustainable
fancy lad.
Fancy lad. Santa's very good to me and no one else. I like the miniatures so much that I'm gonna, and the game looks intriguing to me too. So I'm gonna buy one set that I put together fairly quickly, and then the other set I'm gonna use as painting projects for forever and ever and ever.
I get that. That was a thing that got me interested first and foremost. And as it always does, you mentioned it before in the show, the minis look really, really cool. The heroes look really interesting.
But the price point, like as you say, with anything, like the price point is nothing to sneeze at. I think it's going to be $300 Canadian. However, I'm like I say, a painter first. I take my time when I paint my miniatures. Yeah. So a regular stock rank and file infantry, I would probably clock in at about 8 hours hobby time. So when there's 50 miniatures in a box, the price tag is just minuscule versed on what you're theoretically going to get out of it.
Completely agree.
Now, Now, that's if I paint it all. If I sit it next to the other 37 boxes worth of Shatterpoint I have, plus all the other, my unopened copy of Cursed City that I bought for the exact same reasons I described, then it's less of a sustainable gaming purchase and more of a wicked flex on the rest of the, suck it, poor people.
But if there's something, I mean, it sounds stupid to invest in stuff because that's nonsense. If you're looking to invest in stuff, don't invest in little plastic men. But if there's one game that does hold its value, where if you do decide to flip it later on in the future, GW stuff holds its value the most, in my experience, right?
Yeah, well, there's other benefits to it too. Like Space Hulk is a game I absolutely love. So I had a copy and I was painting it slowly, and something happened, and I'm missing a couple, like 3 of the Terminators and a couple of the pieces, and it's stupid, but it makes the game almost unplayable. I was like, shit, I should find those things. I went, wait a minute. I went to my garage. I got a second sealed copy. back in the game.
I find that like GW is like the Bitcoin of the hobby industry, right? Because I've been doing a lot of research into cryptocurrency, and I just thought Bitcoin was all of it, and it's no. Bitcoin is a very specific cryptocurrency. So I find that GW is the Bitcoin, and the Dogecoin and all the other things kind of come off that, right?
GW stuff loses its value is if you assemble it and paint it.
Yeah, that's true.
if you leave it in the box, it's worth so much more than if you sink all the time and effort and energy into getting it up to a halfway decent standard.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. But yeah, I mean, like I think you make a very good point, and the reason why the point is valid is because you are making your own value proposition. So you're saying you're buying into this, and you know that you're going to get enough value out of simply painting it. And if the game is good, great. But also, if you never play the game, that's also fine because you're buying it as a painting project. That's a really valid point.
Well, the wife and I made a decision. It was either more miniatures for the basement or a villa in rural Italy.
You went with the miniatures. You can make a little villa out of it, mate. You can, like, all the boxes you got, you can make like a little little place.
Yeah. I've got so much. I've got a great amount of Black Site Studio MDF terrain ready to assemble,
which is so good.
Very, very good stuff.
Yeah,
yep, absolutely.
So but anyway, that's all we got time for. Unfortunately, it's been amazing talking to you as ever, and I feel even if it's just this relationship alone, I feel so privileged to have met you and to speak to you and to have a relationship for a number of years, mate. Just through paint.
We should make a concerted effort to do like Adepticon or one of the big ones at some point.
Yeah.
If we circle it on a calendar a year away, it might be something that's worth doing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we need to kind of line it up. I'm off to Macau between Christmas and New Year. I thought that might be a place that might interest you. Have you heard of Macau? Is that an area that you've ever thought of?
Yeah, I'm not going to that neck of the woods. No, that's way too adventurous for me, Dad.
No, well, it's just like they call it the Vegas of the East, don't they? So I just thought maybe you can start, instead of the LVO Open, you can have the MO, the Macau Open. You can make it, mate. You're a sales guy.
What about Monte Sansevino?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, anyway, that's all we got time for, unfortunately, mate. But
right, thanks. You got things to do.
Yeah. Thanks for your positivity and thanks for your openness and thanks for being a really cool internet friend over a number of years. It's all interactions that I always look forward to and interactions that I always find valuable.
Back at you, Dano.
So there you go, episode 276 all wrapped up there. Thanks once again to Scott for coming onto the show. I mentioned it in pre-show, I'll mention it again. I mentioned it at the end of the show. Really good to chat to him, really cool. And I think I sped through it, but let's just slow it down for the post-ramble. It's great doing the podcast, and if the only thing I ever get out of the podcast is the relationship that I have with Scott, distance though it is, different time zone though it is, then it's been an amazing life experience, because I would never have met such an amazing person if it wasn't for the podcast. So thank you, Scott, for listening to the show. Thank you for engaging with us every single opportunity that you've had, and thank you for being a really awesome guy. He offers a contrary stance quite regularly, to the things that I potentially am thinking at that given time. And he quite often slaps me around the face with his opinion, which sometimes solidifies me in my current state, but sometimes it does knock me out of my current mindset and makes me think that actually what I was thinking was incorrect and I should think exactly like him. So thank you, Scott, for that. I do really appreciate it. I really appreciate the candid and openness, the candid nature and the openness that you have with sort of things. It really does, I really do value it, even if I don't always agree. Definitely value it. Something that's really good. Hobby stuff. What's been going on for me hobby wise? Painting a lot. I 40 dudes in one go wasn't quite enough, so I added another unit on. So I've got like 50 odd individual dudes now. So I've been blasting through those guys. And I've also been painting a lot of a giant. So I'm getting my giant quite close to completion. So I did his eyeballs. I did all the ivory stuff. He's got a whole bunch of like teeth and horns and stuff like that, kind of ivory sort of stuff, bone and ivory stuff. So I painted that. So I'm really enjoying painting the giant at the moment. So that's what I'm enjoying most. So I'm kind of chewing through the batch in bits, and then whenever I get bored of painting the batch, I'm kind of picking the giant up and doing a few more details. Last night I painted his toenails and his fingernails and his eyeballs and a whole bunch of other stuff. So yeah, I'm really enjoying painting that. He's called Mag the Mighty. He's in the Free Folk Heroes 3 box, I think, from a song. Heroes 3 comes with 2 giants. It comes with a guy called Wum and a guy called Mag the Mighty. So I'm really enjoying that. It's really cool. I've been kind of chewing through a lot of painting this week. It's been really great. Probably since this time last week, maybe last Wednesday. It's like a week and a half. Just been really enjoying getting back to the painting table and kind of engaging in that. So that's been really cool. Still playing Battle of Hoth with my daughter. She's really enjoying that still. Really starting to get into the missions now, and we're using all the toys, the snow speeders and the AT-ATs and all that kind of stuff. So that's really, really cool. Got a game of a Songwriter Fire tomorrow morning. Got a game of Unmatched on Sunday as well. So yeah, pretty cool. Really enjoying the painting, really enjoying the playing at the moment. But it's more important about what you guys are up to. So make sure you swing by the Discord server and show us what you guys have been painting. Tell us a little bit about how you are enjoying whatever it is you're painting or whatever it is you're playing. Because it's not possible to paint everything ourselves. It's not possible to play everything ourselves. So the more diverse group that we can have, the better it is. And we all kind of can riff off each other with the sort of games that we share, the games that we would like to play but don't, and different things that we do. So that's really, really cool. Guests and stuff. I think I've got about 4 episodes in the bank left. I've not recorded a show for a while. I recorded one show in probably the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks maybe. I'm kind of at a little bit of an impasse, not a negative one, but I've got a whole bunch of people on the potential guest list, and I've sent a few people messages, but for various different reasons, nothing's kind of come up yet, and I'm really unsure about what to do. I still want to record stuff, but there's no one really jumping out at me at the moment that really makes me want to kind of message them and thank you for the notes that you guys have sent about certain people to speak to, and I've messaged a lot of those people, and not a lot of them have come back to me. So I don't know, as it looks right now, it looks like we might have a little bit of a hiatus in about 4 weeks, I think, pretty much a year to the day that I kind of started up going weekly again. So I'm kind of looking around as I get a little bit of time, trying to find people that are interested. But you know, I'm not saying it's anything to do with anybody else. I'm not saying, there's no one interested I can ever speak to ever again. It's just about making sure that those conversations are going to be interesting and engaging, and just finding the right people. Then it's difficult because sometimes I want to speak to somebody, but they don't really have the time, or sometimes people want to speak, but maybe I don't have the time. So a lot of things need to align to kind of make an episode happen. So I don't know what's going to happen at this point. I'll kind of keep trolling around, or I'll keep sort of sending some messages. But yeah, as it stands right now, I think it might not be necessarily weekly from early February into like mid-February, but we'll see. So if you've got anyone that you think will be interesting to talk to, it really doesn't matter who they are, as long as they're involved in the tabletop kind of hobby, whether they're YouTube or other podcasts or I don't know, anything. Just give me a shout, especially people with like a unique insight and interesting perspective on certain things. But yeah, we'll see what happens. If I'm not around for 1 week, I'm sure it's fine. If you want to listen to a show, I'm pretty sure you can kind of go back and you can access some previous shows if you want that fixed. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm kind of keeping an open mind and open hands about certain things. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think that's pretty much it for the post Ramble. I'm trying to organise a little get together on the Discord. I put that on the Discord server just this week. So let me know if you are interested in some sort of a group hobby hangout, and let me know your time zone so I can try and figure out what time zone would work best for the majority of people. And I think that's pretty much it. I think, yeah, that's it. Okay, we're all mid-Jan, getting towards mid-Jan, late January, so it's kind of the time where you need to be checking in with your group, checking in with your squad, checking in with everybody, making sure they're okay after Christmas time. A lot of us after Christmas and New Year, we kind of get back into the workflow and get a little bit low because all the fun and festivities and frivolities are all over. So I hope you guys are all okay. Hope you guys are keeping on an even keel. And yeah, until next time we're together, keep painting.